Capricorn or Cross Watcher, welcome to my channel. Yeah, we're going to talk about the perfect matching signs for the archetype of Capricorn. But before we get there, and we're going to talk about different kind of soul connections, the soulmates, the soul twins, mirror souls, split twin flames, and monadic twin flames as well. Before we get there though, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Janine. I am an astrologer, I am a spiritual coach, manifestation coach, I am a psychic medium, and I am available for personal coaching. So you can contact me if you want to. The information is in the description box below or in the About Me page. Also, of course, you can book your own analysis when it comes to astrology, like I did the celebrity videos. You can check those out. But yeah, Capricorn, first of all, it is very important for me that you know that a soulmate could be any sign. Okay, please don't ever listen to anything that you may have read. Oh, my person is da 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 da, and it doesn't match me. You know what couldn't match Capricorn? Let's see. Maybe Gemini. Gemini can be a very energetic energy, very much out there, very talkative, and Capricorn is more the achiever, is more the calm energy. So maybe you have read that something like, I'm just taking Gemini as an example, maybe you have read that Gemini and Capricorn don't go together. However, please don't listen to that. That is very shallow, and in this channel we don't do shallow stuff, we go very deep. And the thing is, you may not have the entire information. So let's say again, we take the example of Gemini and you're Capricorn. Maybe you are a Gemini rising or a Gemini moon, and then you do have Gemini energy, or you're a Capricorn sun but you have the sun or the moon in the third house, which is the Gemini house, and then again that would give you Gemini energy, and that would make you a good match for a Gemini. Or maybe that Gemini person has a Capricorn rising, Capricorn moon, or their sun or moon in the 10th house, which is your guy's house. So you would have to have all of the information to really determine, okay, this is not a match. And unless you don't have the exact rising sign, you don't have the houses, you cannot really determine that. Okay, so please don't listen to that. Again, a soulmate can have any sun sign, any moon sign. It just depends on how they interact with you, and that is why we would have to watch a synastry. And synastry is your birth chart and your person's birth chart on top of each other, one another, and then we could see how do your planets and the other person's planets interact together. Because even though you may not be a match when it comes to your signs, maybe you still have some amazing placements when it comes to how your planets interact. Maybe you, for example, have a Venus-Saturn trine or Venus-Saturn conjunction, and Saturn is the planet of stability, commitment. Venus is the planet of love. So that is something, for example, that could highlight a very long-lasting relationship, even though the signs may not be matching in the beginning. However, there are some signs that may match better than others, but again, it has to translate to synastry. Okay, you may have good matching signs, but your synastry may say no, those planets, they don't interact, you don't have a lot of squares going on, or we don't have a lot of contact between planets, and then it doesn't really matter. So again, you always have to check the entire stuff, your entire chart and their chart. Even if you don't have your person's exact birth time, you can still see how the planets interact. Okay, so that is important. But what you find very often in soulmate connections is that one person's sun, moon, or rising sign will be the other person's sun, moon, or rising sign. So we said the example, you are Capricorn, so there is a high chance that either your other person will be is moon Capricorn, or a rising Capricorn, or Capricorn rising, Capricorn moon, or you have a rising sign, a moon sign that would be their sun sign. That is something we do find very, very, very often in, or again, one person's rising sign matches the other person's moon sign, and that is something that's very common. However, even if you don't have that, don't fret. It still can be a beautiful connection if you do have a lot of contacts, positive contacts between personal planets. So that would be important. However, we want to talk about different kind of soul connections. And please always keep in mind, we're talking about one aspect right now. When you clicked on this video, you're likely a Capricorn sun, but you have other archetypes within you. You don't just have one archetype. So in any kind of soul connection, we would have multiple indicators and not just this one we're talking about. But let's talk about soul twins. A soul twin would be another person who has a lot of the same aspects than you do. For example, they would be a Capricorn sun as well. They would have the same moon sign, maybe even the same rising sign, the same Venus sign. There would be a lot of sameness going on. So that means that a good match for you Capricorns would be another Capricorn. However, that depends on your own level of maturity. Let's say you still have a lot of unhealed shadows and trauma, then of course you only can attract somebody who also has a lot of unhealed stuff and shadows and drama. And the problem is, when we attract the same sign, there's sameness going on, you also would have the same shadow sides, and then you could trigger each other like crazy. Let's say you have two stubborn people and nobody ever wants to give in, and there was a fight, then of course you cannot make it work. You need to have some difference. However, if you are already more evolved and you don't have all of the shadow, all of the drama or negative baggage, or maybe you never even had it because you had an amazing childhood, if that's the case, congratulations, then you can attract another Capricorn, and that could be an amazing connections because you are the same, you get each other. However, those connections are usually connections where there's not a lot of spiritual growth within the connection. That doesn't mean that there is no spiritual growth. Maybe those souls decided to grow more. You know, we grow often when we have shadows, when we're confronted with problems, and that might be like a health issue, or it might be a family issue, a work issue, or you can also evolve like going into your cave and meditate, or going to the monastery. So not every soul chose to awaken spiritually and being triggered by another soul. Okay, so that is a template some souls chose, and if you're in this video, it's likely that you did, but not every soul chose to evolve either through a relationship or not at all. Some souls just come down to have fun, and that is perfectly fine because everybody gets to choose what they want to do. So again, when you attract another Capricorn, there may not be, again, we're talking about a soul twin, you know, so you would not have just the same sun sign, you would have other signs. There would be a lot in common. However, if you're too much alike, there's not a lot of growth going on because we need some other factors that trigger some kind of growth. However, again, if you want to have just a very peaceful relationship with someone who is like you, a Capricorn would be a good match. But please keep in mind, we're just talking about one energy. You would have to check your charts to see, because you may have some other stuff that is completely different. Okay, we're just talking about the archetypes. But another good thing for you Capricorn would be another earth sign, because Capricorn is an earth sign, and your fellow earth signs would be Virgo and Taurus. And we do have it here. This, guys, is you. This is the earth element. You see it's a feminine element because the triangle is going down. Upwards would be the male elements, and you do have the line going through, and the ones with the lines are the more mental elements, and those ones, fire and water, would be the more emotional elements. You know, earth is more connected to the left side of the brain and the rational side of the brain, and the emotional ones more to the right side of the brain. So another earth sign would be a good choice for you, because earth signs are they are 100 degrees apart in astrology, and that means that they are forming a trine, and the trine is the most harmonious connection between planets or signs. It is a flowing connection. It's the most harmonious ones. However, there is the ability to grow, because even though you do share the same element, that means you do get each other, because you again are the same element. However, you guys, Capricorn, you are ruled by Saturn. Taurus would be ruled by Venus, and then we do have Virgo, that is ruled by Mercury. So even though all of them are earth signs, they still bring something else to the table, and that can create some kind of involvement, because it doesn't get as boring as a mirror soul, because a mirror soul doesn't have to be boring, especially if there is unhealed stuff. But again, there is a chance for development, for growth. However, very peaceful soul twin connections. And again, a soul twin, I like to use the metaphor of twins, biological twins that are not identical. There were two fertilized eggs, and they had a similar experience because they were born together. She had the same parents, and however, they are their own individuals. And that is what like a soul twin would be like. They would be a lot like you, but still different, because again, they are ruled by different, their signs are ruled by different planets. So they bring another energy to the table, which can create an enhancement. However, you do share this earthy energy, the very committal energy, the very hands-on energy and practical energy. And so there is sameness, yet there is way for growth, however, in a very harmonious way. Another good sign for you would be the split twin energy, and for you guys, Capricorn, that would be Cancer. And when we look at our elements again, we do have water over here, and you see they are both the feminine energies, and a split twin would be either masculine, those would be those two here, air and fire, and then we do have the feminine signs, earth and water. And because the oversoul already is either more masculine or feminine, and the oversoul of earth would be more feminine, and then eventually that oversoul, that soul split into two halves, not two halves, two souls. And here I like to use the metaphor of biological identical twins. We have one fertilized egg that splits into a mass of cells, and then that mass of cells split into two masses of cells and then became two embryos. So you do have two people with a special bond. However, they're not half people, they're both complete humans, and they just share a special bond, but they're their own persons. We have two individuals going on here. However, a split twin, and I'm not saying that every person who would be a Cancer would be a split twin. Absolutely not, because there's many Cancers out there, so you would have a lot of elements that would indicate that. However, even if you're not split twins, a Cancer could be a good choice for you, but we're talking about split twin energy right now. And the thing is, when you're a Capricorn, you are ruling your 10th house, and we do have Cancer down here, the 4th house. You are polar opposites, so you're completely opposite. The moon energy, the Cancer energy, it's ruled by the moon. It's very emotional, and you guys are ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is more like a rational planet. It's a very dense planet. It has heavy energy. It's the coldest planet, and yeah, it has like this seriousness about it. So it is completely different than Cancer, but you still can make it work if you have something in common. Okay, what we find in split twins often is the opposition, like we have with Cancer and Capricorn. However, there must be sameness, and this could, for example, be having your sun signs and the opposite signs, but you have the same moon sign, or you have the sun sign in opposite signs but in the same house. My split twin flame and I, we do have the same sun sign, both Virgos, but in opposite houses. Me in the 5th and his is in the 11th house. So there is sameness, and yet opposing energy at the same time. And since you are completely different, you know, Capricorn and Cancer, you need a third energy. The third energy again could be the moon in the same sign or the house, what I just explained. And this third energy would kind of like be the center of those opposing energies, and then you can make it work. However, in astrology, opposing planets, they form an opposition, and that is one of the harder aspects. And we were talking about the soul twins with the trining energy, very harmonious energy, and we don't have that with Cancer and Capricorn. It's not an harmonious aspect, and that is what makes the split twin journey so painful, because you are the same in some aspect. Of course, you have to be the same because you share one oversoul still, and there's just one part of you that is separated. And those, of course, are polar opposites, because one shows this one side, the feminine, and one shows the more masculine energy. However, an opposition is an energy that's always there and that needs to be balanced. And those differences, again, split twins don't have to be the sun signs in opposites. It could be the moon, for example. But just to make it clear, the opposition is a harsh aspect, and it can be still a gift, because it does trigger all of your shadows, and it does trigger a lot of stuff coming back up, and it is difficult. We usually have the runner chaser dynamic, which means this hard aspect that is forcing you to do shadow work can ascend you way higher than the other soul connections can. You know, we were talking about the soul twins that are too much alike, and that can be a beautiful thing, but it's not a thing for growth because of the sameness. Then we do have the soul twins. There is the same element, however, still different aspects that can bring a growth, but the most growth would be in the opposition, you know, in the split twin energy. And once you have done and healed your shadow work, your split twin, like when you're Capricorn, the Cancer could be your perfect match, because it brings to the table what you don't have, and you have what they don't have. And then those souls can come together, and they can really enhance their energy, their third energy, the energy they create as in a relationship, because they both have completely different things. And yet again, we do have the sameness. If you don't have any sameness, you're just too opposite, and then you cannot make it work. It will be very hard to make it work if you're completely different, because then you don't get each other. That's why you need some kind of sameness to balance that. But once you learn to balance your own energy, then the opposition, it will always be like a magnet. It will always influence each other, but then it will influence each other in a very positive way, and it will trigger this ascension. So again, Capricorn, for you, a Cancer could be a good thing. It could be a bad thing if you don't have anything in common, but it could be a very good thing. However, as I said before, we always have to look at synastry as well, because even if you have the opposite or the same energies, it needs to translate in good connections in synastry. Otherwise, they would not be your split twin. And again, you need more than one factor to determine that. Another very good energy for a Capricorn would be, let me think, Aquarius. Aquarius. Why Aquarius? And you may think that sounds a bit weird. Why Aquarius? Because we do have it here. We got the earth and the air, and their counterparts already, because they are both the more mental elements, and that's why they have the line. And we've got the masculine and the feminine, and Aquarius is the feminine aspect of Capricorn, because you guys are ruled by Capricorn, and Aquarius is also ruled by Capricorn and co-ruled by Uranus. Before Uranus was found out there or discovered, Saturn was the traditional ruler of Aquarius. So Aquarius people do have the Saturn energy within them as well. And you guys, again, Earth is the feminine energy, so you are the yin, the feminine aspect of Saturn, and then we do have Aquarius representing the yang, the masculine aspect of Saturn, which means that you don't need a third energy to balance that. You know, with the split to Cancer, we said you need a third energy to balance the opposition, and here there's already sameness by sharing the same energy, the Saturnian energy. However, it is divided in yin and yang. So Capricorn and Aquarius would be counterparts, and it could be a good match. But again, to determine if you are monadic twin flames, you will have the moon in yin yang signs. You will have almost all of your placements in yin yang signs, okay? Almost all of them, because a monadic twin flame is a very rare thing, and everything is like perfectly, because they are one soul and they're never separated. Just the lower energies, you know, the more energies connected to our three-dimensional bodies, those are different because they all have their own bodies. Both of them have their own bodies, but they share the higher self. And by split twin flames, they don't share the higher self, but they do share the oversoul. They do share higher energy. And yeah, for that reason, Capricorn and Aquarius do get each other, even though again there is differences, of course, because we got yin yang, we got feminine and masculine, which in itself, of course, is already different energy. So yeah, let's sum it up for you guys. Capricorn, what would be a good sign? Any sign can be your divine counterpart, can be a soulmate. If you're a soulmate, can be a divine counterpart. Depending on what template you decided when you came here. We need to check synastry, we need to check the rising sign and the moon sign. So any sign could be a good match. However, another good match would be another Capricorn. If you either, but again, we're talking about divine connections, so you must already been healed or never had a lot of trauma, and then you would get each other because you are the same. However, it's not a connection that is for a lot of growth. And then we do have the other earth signs. Again, Taurus and Virgo would be very good for you, very flowing connections. But also here as well, we need to check the rest of the charts. You know, it might not apply to you specifically. We're talking about the archetypes. Then we got Cancer as the opposing sign, which can be an amazing thing because you bring completely different energies to the table, and that can be very complementary. And then we got Aquarius as your naturally complementary sign, because you do share the yin yang energy, you do share the Saturnian energy. So anyway, I hope this helped you. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, share my videos, help me grow my channel. And of course, I am available to analyze your own personal chart between you and your person, which can be a romantic connection, it can be a relative or a best friend. If you want to see if you have a soul connection, most likely you do. Anybody you are very close with, you do have a soul connection. But again, I wish you all the best, and I'll see you in my other videos. Bye bye.